Hello and welcome to Proof of Concept, the podcast about concept cars and a lot of lag. I'm Alex,
I'm Will.
and I forgot how we do these, so I'm just gonna say hi, Will. How are you?
Aside from the obviously very phlegmy Qatar disgustingness that's in my voice, I'm all good in the hood. Um, just cruising along with life at the moment, but not had car trouble, but I've had a car shopping list. I've been told by friends what I need to get, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised. But eh, we'll get more to that anyway. How are you, my friend?
I am exhausted. So I picked up an overtime shift. It's currently 10:30 at night on Saturday, and I've been up since 4:45 this morning because I had overtime at work.
Nice.
I've had an absolute wank day. Um, so so in order to get into the factory where I work, obviously I'm not going to mention which company, but in order to get into said factory, we've got to have these passes, the ID badges.
Yeah.
I've been using my mum's truck for the past few days because it's been at the end of the drive and she's not needed it, so it's just, hey, just take the truck rather than move all the cars around. I left my ID badge in the truck. So, and I'd had a good day. I got out there, like, a really good time, and I got to the front gate, and I went, oh, bollocks, I've left my thing at home. Right, go to the security gate. Can I have a temporary card? And you get the whole, oh, you should be more responsible than this talk, and you're like, all right, yeah, okay, I made a cock up.
Typical
Right, thank you very much.
security bollocks. Yep.
Anyway, it gives me a backup security card, go in, fine. I'm on end of line today. So I'm doing these engine heads, um, clean them off, make sure they're okay, put them through. However, the particular section I was on kept going down for technical problems, and I thought, right, I know what I'll do. I'll fix this. And I managed to fix it by breaking it so much worse that it ended up down for an entire hour and a half. Not not my finest move, breaking a couple £1 million of machinery. We did
Oh,
fix it. However, after feeling like pretty shit about this, I went to go leave. Then, of course, I had to hand my security badge in at the back at the end of the day. Out my fucking pocket at some point, I couldn't find it. So after going cap in hand in the morning to go, I'm sorry, I forgot my card. I had to go cap in hand at the end of the day and say, I'm sorry, but I lost your card. Got
that,
the usual. You should be more careful next time. Talk from there then.
the moral of the story is never ever trust Alex with sharp objects, valuables, or secrets. You'd be shit as a KGB agent, that's for sure.
Well, hey, I'm good with secrets. I usually forget what you told me about 10 minutes after you told me it.
Yeah,
I'm good like
who
that.
said that? Who am I? I don't know. Couldn't
Your,
possibly
your
tell you.
name's your name's Derek, right?
Sure, Callum. Yeah, of course.
See, the real reason why we put our names at the start of
Oh,
this is not so you guys know the difference between us. It's so I can remember who I'm talking to. That's actually what goes on here.
yep. It's memory game, Professor
Tell
Brain.
you what, have you ever had it with like this thing with your mother where she'll go to like call you off and she like names all your siblings, then two of your cousins, then like three past dogs you've had in your life, and then your name.
Oh, completely. Like, I'm definitely bottom of the pecking order. I get called one of the dogs before I'm called my full name. Look, I'm blessed
So,
without siblings, and I have animal names shouted at me instead. I feel great.
I mean, in fairness, you do have a lot of animals. I will, to your mother's credit, there.
Just fucking too
The
many. 14 horses. No one needs that many. Please.
the the, the one I find kind of funny though is my dad for a while. He just looked at my brother and went, "You look more like a Simon to me." I just called him Simon for a month. Every time he saw him, all right, Simon. It's just no, just my poor brother, and he's like 20 at the time, so it's not like he's a kid being bullied. I don't know. It's just my dad decided don't mind him. My dad's very funny like that, in the sense that he's a dick. Oh, I've
You're
just
a
broken.
Simon now. Live with it.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was Simon or Timothy. I think it might be Timothy. Just for a whole month, just all right, Timothy, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, that's not." But Dad, stop. It's
Please.
yeah. Anyway, so what have you been up to in the automotive space this fortnight? We actually got the recordings done at the set schedule we had. So what have you been up to this past fortnight?
Wow. God, look at us.
I
Scary.
know.
Um,
It's
well,
not like us.
I've had a shopping list come through from uh, a friend of mine, a mechanic. I've always had problems with my Terios where the wheels shake quite violently at motorway speeds. I thought, okay, is it the tyres? No. Is it the balancing? No. Took it to my normal garage and they said, nope, nothing's wrong with it. It's just a tall car with thin tyres, load of bollocks. It really isn't. Like, the tyres are actually quite fat. So you'd think it'd be planted. Took it to the garage, mate of mine. Up it goes on the ramp. And I'm like, I'll check it. I'll check it myself. And I've gone top and bottom, left and right. And the wheel shakes like a shitting dog. And he's spinning the wheel round and he goes, yeah, you've got a bearing loose. And I'm like, great. That's more money I need to spend. But I've been,
Bearings
because I
aren't cheap
originally
either.
went in. No, exactly. Like, I've had people tell me they've had to pay 50 quid upwards for one bearing, but I got off lucky. He
Is
said,
that it?
he showed me the parts and he said, 20 quid. I'll,
Oh,
I'll take
fuck
that.
you. No,
I'm
no,
happy.
no, no, no. What the hell? Right? I had to get rid of the Alpha because the wheel bearing was going. And I went to the garage. He's like, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, mate. It's going to cost you like 300 quid. And I went, oh, no.
Well then,
Yeah.
goodbye forever.
Ugh, I
Oh,
just went, I'm going to have to give up on this. It's a shame. I do miss that car. Alright, anything else wrong with it? What else is on your shopping list then?
what else? There is, well, because it's front discs, rear drums. The rear drums have been okay because I took it in for its handbrake to be repaired because it was a bit loose, then too stiff, and then grinding. It's all been sorted now, and I've been told I need to do drum shoes. I mean, after 106,000 miles, it needs something like that after a long time. And oh, excuse me. So another 20 quid fix. Problem solved. And I keep having an ABS stop.
I hate you
This might
so
be
much.
because of the bearing. Say again?
So I hate you so much. How dare you have such cheap repairable parts?
Well, I've just got off lucky, you know. But
You and your bloody Terios. Bastard.
well, it's a cheap little Jackbox, and I was expecting more because
I've
usually,
got a
they
cheap
don't
little
make
jack
parts.
box and it's really expensive. Alright, I have a cheap little jack box and I keep finding rust on it. Okay? I am not happy with the treatment I am getting compared to you. This is not on. Is this an
No, it's not fair.
anti-Welsh thing?
What's the term for?
I think it's xenophobia. Yeah.
That's the one, xenophobia. I knew it would begin with a Z, and then after that, no idea. But um, I've
Will
had
doesn't know big
surprisingly,
words.
I know, yes, tennis, avocado. I know big word. Me smart. But
Encyclopedia. That's blown your mind. That has.
oh wow, that's mind-numbingly terrifying. But aside from that, I've been watching quite a lot of old videos. Don't get me wrong, but I've been watching the old Dakar Rally from 1997, and
Is that at all
I just
influenced by the As Usual episode last fortnight? Oh,
no,
tell me
never, not
more.
me.
No, first, have you seen the one the Daft twin turbo truck or twin engine truck rather?
Oh, isn't that
It's
where it's
like
got one? It's sort of a truck sandwiched in the middle, kind of thing. It's got
I
two
think
front ends to it.
yeah, I think something like that. The one that rolls over in the 80s.
Yeah,
That
that
thing's
sounds about right.
yeah, that thing's mad. It's just and they're out there and they're absolutely booking it on sand in this massive truck, and it's overtaking like a bowler wildcat type thing. That thing
Yeah.
is cool. That and the Red Bull Kamaz. That thing is oh. There's something
That's
just impressive
amazing.
about something. Yeah, something so incredibly large that has no right going fast on like concrete, let alone fucking sand. Just absolutely,
Literally.
just absolutely mobbing it along the desert. Just oh, that's I do love the Dakar Rally. I,
It's
oh,
so cool. Like for me, it trumps every kind of other motorsport because every other motorsport has obviously the cars tuned to meet specification, and they last what the race and then have to be rebuilt. Whereas with the Dakar, they last sometimes 12,000 miles and they're okay. Yeah, they'll have a crash. Yeah, they'll be rebuilt during it, but they survive a lot longer than anything else, and it's so much more entertaining. You never know what's going to happen next.
I might be taking part in the Baja Rally at some point. The Baja 1000, I think it is, which is like a toned down version in America. Because I've got American mates who want to do it, and I said, "Hey, if I can get out there, can we do it?" And they were like, yeah." And the thing is, well, there's a class in that where you do it in purely stock 1970s Beetles,
Okay.
and I think that's the yeah, and that's the one we're wanged in for because that sounds like immense fun. Oh,
No, that sounds cool.
yeah.
I'm really jealous now. I really want to do that.
I mean, we've got our Mongol rally plans at some point. We want you
That'll
to get on with that.
happen soon. That'll happen at
Do you know
some
what?
stage in life.
Do you know what? You're saying this. I'm actually looking at the livery mock-up I did for our failed Specsavers tie-in.
Mm.
Um, hmm.
God, that crappy old Fiesta drawing.
Yeah. Well, I hope you mean the crappy old Fiesta. That's the only good drawing I've ever done in my life. And by that I mean I printed off a drawing offline and I coloured it in pencil and I had my brother draw it on the computer because he's better than me. But other than that, you know,
We roll, we roll with the times.
yeah, no, do you know, this week I've been this fortnight even, I've been absolutely swamped with car stuff. So, obviously, I've been advertising that meet for, well, when you're hearing this, this will be uploaded halfway through said meet. And, oh god, it's been absolutely hell to organise. I finally managed to get a location for it on Wednesday after having to run, because originally I'd kind of teamed up sort of unofficially with this car like club, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll help you organise it," whatever. And just their events organisers just never replied. So it was like
Brilliant.
3 weeks of me like messaging my contact in the group, going, "Hey, any news?" And he's like, "Yeah, I keep bugging them, but they're not replying to me." They got to the point where I was like, "Ah, right, I've got 2 weeks left now," and literally just managed to pull it out of the bag last minute. I am bricking it a little bit, so I said to them, they said, "Oh, how many people do you expect?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, you were at the first meet we had. It was 4 people, wasn't it?"
Exactly.
Yeah, and the second one was 3. I was like, "Well, I can't imagine there'd be more than like 20, 30 people if I'm really optimistic." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." I put the advert up for it, and it's had 250 likes so far, and like a lot of people commenting, going, "Yeah, I'm definitely coming, and I'm bringing my friends." I'm looking at that going, "Oh no!" Like on one hand,
I've booked.
I really want them to like show up in the masses because that would be the biggest ego. You will never ever see me come down from that ego trip ever in my life. Like that will just be, me done for good.
Oh yeah.
But but at the same time, if they show up, I have to go. I have to go then to the poor owners of this little cafe and go, "I'm really sorry. I'm a lot more popular than I thought. Sorry, don't hate me."
Please, please, I didn't mean for this, but I'm popular all of a sudden. Please.
Yeah, so I've done that. I failed to repair my exhaust as well because turns out literally the only thing part of this job I had to do was put a bolt in. That was it. I couldn't get the bolt to go in. That is the level of incompetency I have with vehicles. So I'm having to go up to see Parent tomorrow so we can just basically redo my entire exhaust just to make it work because it's so loud. Oh,
And
and
it's
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 still
it's a bit of a bone shaker.
yeah, it's not as loud as when you last heard it. Because I repaired
Oh,
it
okay.
and it's it's slightly unrepaired because when you drove it, it was without it's basically the flexi just come off. And if I ever find a photo of it, I'll show it to you. And literally, it straight pipes the exhaust straight to the floor. Uh, so yeah, that was loud.
That was.
Um, so I've got a new sports cat on it because that just came as the thing. With the flexi, which goes into the back box. However, the bolts holding it to the back box have just decided they don't want to be there anymore, and they've dropped out at some point while I've been driving, which not ideal for the person that was behind me at that exact moment.
No, not really.
You know, but that's why it's so loud. So we're gonna have to go up tomorrow, and I'm gonna have to have a new back box off Parad. Who, thank you, Parad, for providing it for me. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting time for me.
An eclectic mix.
Yeah. Not to mention that one of my good friends has just picked up a 996, which is possibly my favorite Porsche 911. Either that or the 930. I'm not entirely sure. And now all I've been doing for the past week is thirsting after it. Even though I don't want the convertible version. I want the hardtop, and she's got the convertible, and I'm still thirsting after it. That's mm,
I mean, personally, you can keep that for yourself because I'm not a massive fan of Porsche. I don't get me wrong, I don't dispute the marvel in engineering, but I have no desire at all to
they
even
don't.
drive or look at one. Like I really, it's a car
See,
to me.
I, I have, I used to think the same, and then I started occasionally driving the 911 on racing games. I was like, huh, this is actually really easy to drive fast. I know it's not like base your experience on cars off racing games, have you? But then I started to look at them, and especially the 996. I was like, huh, I can get a high end sports car, borderline supercar, depending on engine and trim, for like less than a lot of like modern hatches.
Hmm.
And I was looking at it as well, and this is the thing I find that really like convinced it for me is like you look at a Ferrari of similar performance and similar age, up for sale for a lot more, and it's like, oh, it's got 12,000 miles, never driven, or what I mean, barely pampered, and then it's got like a list of receipts as long as your arm, and then you got the Porsche 911 for like a third the price, 17 times the mileage, like I set up in 110,000 miles. It's just like daily driven. Here's a list of like 7 things that were wrong with it that have been fixed. It's fine. I just that's mad. I love the idea that you can just have this sports car that just doesn't die.
Yeah,
Yeah. So and I went and drove one, and oh god, I get it. I fully understand why people love 911s. For a start, the engine's behind you where it's meant to be. But oh, what a car. Anyway, we're talking about Porsches, but that's not
that's not
the
the aim of
content
the
of
day
today's.
today.
Yeah, and this is your episode. I'm gonna have to do the PowerPoint presentation because, as usual, viewers, we're having technical difficulties.
It's great. It's wonderful.
Hey,
We're
we're
part
getting
of this
slightly
game.
less. We're getting less every week or fortnight rather.
Yeah,
We're getting better. It's constant improvement. We've got
there'll
that
be a
going for us.
time where we can actually start on the time that we agreed, but
I
that is for
know.
way in the future. It will get there, just not now.
So,
Oh,
Will, my
excuse me.
friend, what is the brand we're doing this week?
So this week we are doing Sierra Alpha Bravo, as I remember from the world's shittest advert, but that will be for Saab.
Who we both
So,
collectively love.
oh, t- I love, I love, and I will never not love. For me, it's not a nostalgia thing, but in the bottom right corner, that is my old. Obviously, I don't have it now. But that is my old 9.3, and that taught me how to properly
How did
love
you
a
find
nice car.
that 9.3?
That
Remind me.
indeed. That was through. Well, let's see. Careful research on the internet. Talking with this whimsical, wise fellow by the name of Alex that we're currently talking to. Yeah, you're the one that found it for me.
Do you know?
And
So can I? Sorry, do you mind if I tell the story behind this because it's the funniest.
interject.
Yeah. So as it was, okay, I live in a village. I'm from South Wales, very proudly so, but I live in a village in the West Midlands at the moment. And you just gotten a new job that week, hadn't you?
I
If I remember
had,
correctly.
yes, that's true.
Yeah. And you were because you were looking at a Honda Civic diesel or something like that. And
That's right. I was looking at a Civic.
yeah, and me and you were just chatting because we chat all the time. I was driving into my village from the opposite end to normal for whatever reason, and there was a house at the top of the village that had this Saab for sale. And I looked at it, I went, oh, diesel Saab estate. And I remember looking at going, and the money, it was only up for, it was up for 900 if I remember correctly. And I went,
700.
yeah, it was properly cheap. And I looked at it and I went, that, that's quite, I like that. I remember like messaging you saying, because I was like, hey, I'm not allowed two cars, but I know you're looking for a new car. I know you're looking for a diesel. And I remember, there's a Saab 93. Do you want me to look at it? And you were like, and you were really like, oh, I don't know, maybe. And you went, yeah, go on, I'll have a look for you. So I knocked on this door, and next thing, this really Welsh woman answers. I was like, oh, you a Taffy? And she went, oh, are you? Turns out, not only is she Welsh, she was from the next town over from where I grew up. And not only was she from the next town, yeah, this car had actually spent most of its life at the same time as me, like 3 doors down from my school. Um, like while I was there, and her husband worked at my dad in South Wales, and we just happened to be in the same village.
What
Genuinely
a
madness.
coincidence.
I know.
What a
And,
small world.
and then obviously, I brokered the car for you. I brought it down for you. And then we got to hang out for a while, and then I got to make a TikTok off it, and it was my first ever TikTok that properly blew up. Was going over the weird quirks of that car because
Old
what a
Alex
quirky
Twin
car.
Spark playing Doug DeMuro for a moment.
Yeah, it was. It was. And the only thing is, despite being Alex Twinspark, the alpha version I did on my car before did not get anywhere near that exposure. But I still get comments on that video now, complaining mostly that I didn't show the cup holder in the first video. Because that is the most spectacular piece of over-engineering I've ever seen. I miss that cup holder. I miss that car.
I do too. I fell in love with it, and that's why I've included in, for example, this episode. This is a photo that I took. For me, this is a peak of my life. I was in a good job. I was in a good mental state. It was my favorite kind of weather, and this was the first car that taught me to really genuinely love and care for a car. So I then crashed it, which was great.
we've all been there. Who hasn't been
Exactly.
hedged backwards accidentally on a slippery road?
Exactly. It was probably the day after that I hit a bank and broke the front bumper, but we'll ignore that.
Oh.
But
Hey, it was a
the
robust car.
nine three, oh, it's tough old bird. Like it snapped some plastic, and that was it. I was doing 10 mile an hour as well, and I thought, oh god, I'm gonna set the airbags off. I'm gonna have an insurance job. Nothing. I broke the plastic slightly. Problem solved. I'm
Current
okay
owner
with that.
still has
No,
it, doesn't he?
no damage at all. Sorry again.
The current owner still has it, doesn't he?
He
Like
does. Yeah. He uses it every day. Drives it to Essex quite frequently. It's designed perfectly for what he wants it for, and I lost for it. I lost for another one, but that one
Can
had
I
so
point by the way,
many. Go on.
yeah, I was just say, can I point out? It's like I've been sad of losing my own cars. Generally, and don't really care. When you told me you were selling that, I was genuinely sad. I really love that car.
Oh,
It's to
I,
this
I
day
was
the only diesel car I want to own.
if I
That
was
says a lot.
ever gonna pick another one, I'd probably go for the twin turbo version, only because it makes that little bit more power. But that's only a power thing. But like it was plenty fast enough as it was. Um,
I'm very comfortable. I had plenty of
but
poke on the motorway.
oh, plenty, and I loved it. And from then, I was never really into Saabs. I found them cool, but I preferred Volvo. If I was to pick a Swede, it was a Volvo. But this taught me to love a car, and as we can see here, we've got my old 93. People say you'll get quite mixed reviews. You'll say good car, or they'll say a Swedish Vectra, but I've never driven a Vectra, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But
I mean, I can tell
I
you, we used to
mean,
have the equivalent Vector when I was a kid, and it's absolutely nothing alike inside. They're
no,
like
completely different.
they share nothing on the inside at all. It's mad.
But yeah, they were known as either the expensive Vectra, blah blah blah. But I loved mine, and Saab are best known for the 900. I mean, this 900 convertible that's pictured here, I picked it because it's wacky, it's weird, it's a bit different, and oh, excuse me, it's just different, and that's what Saab did. It did things differently.
And not just differently, because if I remember correctly, because they had a massive push on safety, if I remember correctly, the 900 was officially the safest car on sale in the US for about 20 years or something like that. It was a
Yep.
ridiculously long time. It was a super safe car. I think it was the 900. It might be the 93, but I'm fairly sure it's the 900.
Well, they were well. Fun fact for everyone that knew: the 2-liter turbo. So everyone that wanted a 900 wanted a turbo. Um, their engines could actually be dated back to oh, I want to say 60s. Because this was a
Is that the
80s car,
slant
70s,
4?
80s. Say again, sorry.
Is that the slant 4?
You'll have to repeat that. I can't remember what.
So the turbo engine, was that the slant 4?
Uh, I'm not well. All I know what it was. It was a small, well, slightly retuned version of the Triumph Dolomite engine.
Yeah, that's the slant 4. Those they kept using that up until Saab went bust.
Yeah, and I mean, time and test approved. It's worked, and that's off to Triumph. They
Mm.
they were the ones that brought the forebearer forward, and then Saab ran with it.
That's another weird company,
Pretty,
Triumph.
uh, well, and I mean Saab's followed suit. Weird, wacky, wonderful. But if we could please move on to the next slide.
Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, what's this?
The So this is a Saab 900 Turbo on Feral, basically. Um, it was
Oh,
one
so,
year
sorry, sorry.
launched
It's an
after.
internal combustion engine.
Yep. So
Why do they
EV1,
call it
you'd
the
think.
EV1?
EV stand
Yeah.
for electric vehicle. But you see, Saab again doing their things differently. This was experimental vehicle one. So this
Ah,
was
okay.
nothing to do with hybrids, nothing to do with batteries. It's literally just a fully functional, roadworthy design study. Um,
Hmm.
so it sneaked bits from the Saab 900 Turbo, so it used the same engine. But aside from that, everything was changed. It was purely so Saab could tell and do whatever they wanted to it.
That is a
And
bizarre looking thing.
it, I believe it was, well, let's see. So power was uprated typically from the turbo. I can't remember what the normal turbo produced, but this one had it cranked up quite a bit. So it doesn't say exactly what it was used for in terms of design study, but it had 282 horsepower, which is not
That's a
bad,
lot.
That's
That's
a
not bad
lot
for
from
now.
something that
Because
exactly that's a lot from something that was launched after the 1 year after the Saab 9000. And
that's only a 2 liter engine as well, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
exactly, only a 2-liter turbo, and that's not bad at all.
That's
Oh, excuse me.
insane power. Okay, I like
What?
this a bit more now.
It's a bit of a weird and wacky thing with 246 pound-feet of torque, so it's got plenty of poke. Like
Mm.
that's not too much to sniffle at even now.
And it doesn't
And
look particularly big either, so I imagine it's probably a fairly nimble car too.
exactly, like it's not much. I don't think it's that much bigger than a normal 900 either. So it's, and I mean the
Yeah.
900 was known for good handling because that itself was based off the 99, and that it was quick as well, 170 miles an hour, near enough, and it would do standing start to national speed limit in 5.9 seconds. That's pretty quick,
That's very
but
especially for the time. Like that is proper sports car stuff.
that's genuine sports car stuff, and it's brilliant.
Is this sorry? Is this
It's
front or rear drive?
this
Because if it's 900
is
base, it'd
front.
be front drive, isn't it?
It's front drive, yep,
That's
and
mad.
that's insane. That is a
Because when
one
so
rapid machine, and
when
it's
did you
all
say this was
feeding. It's feeding all this
86?
power to front wheels.
I mean, I imagine that's got torque steer like a pitch, but what year did
Yeah,
you say this was again? 86.
I believe so. I can't quite
That's
remember on that one. But
that's
from
mad.
what I can tell, it's also it. Well, if you can just see top left photo, just above the
Yeah.
seats, they are actually solar panels.
Okay.
Again,
But
going back to this
see-through
EV
solar
thing.
panels.
Say again.
But they're glass on the other ones, aren't they? This is very
Uh, I
odd
th-
design.
I think, well, that's the thing. They tried something new, and I don't know if it worked fully, but it was a fully functional thing. It drove, it stopped, started, blah blah blah. But I don't know much about the solar panels. It was just something there. But you'd think EV1 electric vehicle, no, nothing. The What's clever is the solar cells are mounted inside the roof, and they're
Okay.
designed to drive a fan for ventilation to prevent the cabin getting hot.
Which
So
obviously you
basically,
need. Oh, so is that
it's
like a
just
passive thing that's always on when it's parked?
basically, yeah. So
That's very
no
clever.
matter what the temperature, but then again, it's Sweden, so it'd always be cold, surely. Well,
Well,
I don't quite see how it works there, but
you're
again,
talking
they
about
put
the car
this
company
in
that
to
put
see if it would
a.
work.
You're talking about the car company that made sure they had a air vent in their glove boxes to cool down their chocolate. Um, seems like a very Swedish move. In fairness, thing is
Exactly.
though,
If it's going to be cold on the outside, be cold on the inside.
this is one of the things that Saab has always done that I quite like. Is a lot of the time they're really far ahead of the curve with a lot of things. That idea of
Yeah,
venting at the cabin, we're putting that now on your Teslas and your BMW, like your high end stuff
mhm.
via like an app on your phone, so you can cool your car down before you get out there. Saab were doing this in what the 80s. They went, hey, why don't we just have a thing that just keeps the car cool because it's a big glass box. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, precisely.
I
And
mean, it's a challenging thing to look at, but that is technologically
oh,
wise.
it's exactly. It's no means a looker, but it works, and it's high efficiency. Everything's designed to be sort of printed to the finest details, and the apparently it's reinforced glass fiber, which is aramid. Apparently, it's aramid reinforced stuff. Um, so when it has a crash, it's supposed to bounce back. So revolutionized mainly by Saturn, the iron. Instead of having plastic bumpers, it had fiberglass, but it would bounce back in case of a small minor accident. And Saab, obviously, they were all about safety, like Volvo were.
Mm.
Um, but where is it? The
See, it's funny you bring up Saturn because I was looking at this, and this to me looks like a Saturn.
yeah, I can see that. No, I can certainly see that.
They're another weird company.
They were Saturn are cool. I mean, the iron was it the Iron Red Line had Mazda RX-80 doors.
I don't actually know that. That's
Ah, well, there's a
I
little interjection for you. They have little suicide doors that you have to open with the front door as well.
ah pain in the arse doors as I call them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, excuse me. But what's most interesting is they used some exotic materials. Other than glass fiber, they used carbon fiber. So they used it inside the doors and some of the subframe, but they used it mainly for protection. Um, but to continue the lightweight theme, the front seats are half the weight of conventional seats, but they're still fully electric. So you can adjust the side support so they hug you. So if you were say going to
Ah.
sharp corners, it would bolster around you and grip. But they were lighter, so it wanted to test how far you can go, how fast you can go, and how basically safe you'd be if you had a smash. And I think it's something different. Saab never has never done this before. They just made the 900 Turbo, which was just weird and wacky in itself, but they never
Hmm.
made something that looked like this.
I mean, the Saab 900 Turbo was the first like regular car with a turbo, if I remember correctly. That was the big thing with it. Is like, oh, turbocharging is now affordable. We
Exactly.
can all have it. Again, very ahead of the curve.
Very.
Yeah.
Any opinions on that?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming the interior, like the dashboard, and that there is just standard 900 fare,
Yeah,
which means it should have the night panel, which is the best feature on any car. Fight me.
ever.
Um,
Far ever.
thing is, obviously, me and you both wear glasses. I don't know if you felt this yourself driving it. Did you ever find that like the night panel was just a godsend in nighttime drives?
I used it more than anything else because I get headaches quite frequently, and that was
Yeah,
a godsend. I could see
it's mad.
everything that
It's
I needed
great.
to see and not worry. It's brilliant.
Because the alpha had it as well, but in order to put it on the alpha, you had to go into like 3 different submenus and hold a button down. And if you turn the lights back off and back on again, for whatever reason, or turn the car off and back on again, it cancelled it off. So you had to go and do it back through all the menus again, which had to be stopped to do, because alpha. But yeah, no, Saab again, very. As I'm looking at this as well, it looks like it's meant to be very aerodynamic. It looks very 80s aerodynamic, but it looks very aerodynamic. And this is just I've just realised as well. It's got the Saab grill. I've just clocked that. What
It's
a
still
bizarre
all 100% Saab Triumph witness.
it's and you know what this looks like to me, because this you could feasibly sell that. You know what I mean? You look at this. You compare this to the Mitsubishi Eclipse. You know, the Mitsubishi Starion. Give me an example that's not a Mitsubishi. You know, I could see this selling not necessarily over here, but in America definitely. Then again, I'm not sure how well Saab sold in America. I don't think they did sell very well generally. That's basically why they went away. But yeah, Will, my dear friend, would you like to explain to the lovely audience why there's such a bizarre little jump cut there?
Well, you see, right. I charged my laptop up all day, ready for this podcast in Leo, ready and waiting. I come to use it, unplug it from its power supply, around, start the podcast. I check 20 minutes, half an hour in that the battery has gone down to 20. Ah, crap. I've messaged my lovely other half to bring down my charger very kindly, and he brings it down 10 minutes after I'd asked him to bring it. He walks through the door, laptop dies, goodbye podcast. So we're here now. What, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million, whatever days
Well,
left
well, well. I mean,
after even.
we started on
Doing this again.
we started on Sunday, and now it's
Yep.
Friday. So you know,
Mhm.
I've had 5 days to deliberate on the EV one, and I decided it's cool and I like it. Do you want to move on to the next one now? Now we've spent 5 days on this.
Indeed, let's go.
Hey, it worked this time. I will. By the way, I will point out for
Hey.
watching. We've had to do this twice now, because it crashed the first time. On my end this time. So
Hey.
nothing but plagued with disaster. Anyway, so the Saab 9X. Will, tell me about the Saab 9X.
So the 9X, designed by Bertoni, one of few design houses that keep things correct. They do things correctly, and they don't really often get things wrong.
Hmm.
Um,
Bertoni is easily my favorite
and
design house, actually. Now you mention that. Not least of all because I've got one of Bertoni's.
I would be. I think.
I mean, I've got a Stratos painted on my wall, and that is one of Bertoni's best. If I didn't big up Bertoni, I may have to repaint my wall. So there's that.
Yep, that's valid. Um, this was built by Bertoni in 2001. So this was a rapid little thing, incorporating everything you would want from a car. If you can't use birth control and don't understand what pill and condoms are, if it doesn't have 7 seats. But if you've actually got sanity and don't want children, this is the perfect car for anyone. It's fast, small, and practical, all in one. Job as a good one, really.
There's a lot of very, very handsome features on it as well. Especially like this light bar at the back. I think that's. It reminds you know, what's the new Nissan, the 400Z? It's got a very similar back end to that. I do really like that. I think that's a very good looking back end.
I can see that.
I will say that it is a slightly awkward design in some places. So for a start, this front end, I do not like these lights at all. I think they really ruin the front end. But I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the back, because it looks like they've tried to go for like a more coupe, sort of Alfa Romeo Brera kind of shape at the back, but they've decided, oh no, we need to keep it practical, so they've kind of raised it. So it's this really awkward looking back window, which I'm not Not too
It,
sure on.
it's a bit sort of Lancia Gamma HPE and Volvo P1800 ES sort of shooting brake
Hmm.
gone 2001 weird. But
Yeah.
I think this is really, really cool. And it converts, well, it incorporates, sorry, coupe, roadster, estate, and pickup all into one package.
So you say
Two
pickup.
plus two,
Is that
so
what's going
you
on
can
with
only do.
this? You say it's a pickup. Is that what's going on with this folding down boot hatch thing?
Indeed, indeed. So,
Right.
oh, excuse me, it had an extendable rear load space with a sliding floor, which was developed from the 9.5 Sportwagon.
Ah.
Um, so, indeed, very clever piece of sort of not badge engineering or parts bin scabbering, but use of practicality. If that makes sense. Um, but if you can see in the middle of the car, there is a bar that is permanent and does not move, but it ensures that there is structural rigidity connecting both B pillars without the need for roof reinforcement. But
Oh.
there are just inside there are very very minor roof rails. Um,
So you
but
could so you can open the roof.
yeah, so this was
Oh.
a roadster as well. You could turn
Okay.
basically think Chevrolet SSR.
Oh, that's very cool. I know everyone hates the SSR, but I love the SSR. The
No, I think
SSR,
they're really really cool.
the SSR is the pickup one, isn't it? The
Yeah.
HHR is the knockoff PT Cruiser that also came as a van. That's something we should
Yep,
talk
and
about
they
one day.
took to Bonneville and did a land speed run.
Uh, GM is an interesting company. Like we do have a we have a future guest lined up who wants to do GM if I remember correctly. But
Ooh, I'm very, very intrigued.
so talking of GM, this will be a GM power plant, will it not? In this,
Indeed, indeed.
so what is powering it?
So, from this is a guess, but would make sense. This is a turbocharged 3-litre V6, probably from the Saab 95 Griffin. So this has 300 horsepower, 302 pounds-feet of torque, four-wheel drive, a six-speed manual gearbox with Brembo brakes. It only weighs just over 1,300 kilos, but it would scamper from 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds to an electronically governed 155 miles an hour.
That's
That's
nice.
quick,
That
even by today's standards.
that's
That is a
that's that's quicker than my
farcical motor.
MR2. I mean, my MR2 is no slouch, but that's quicker than my MR2.
Mm.
And
And
all the while
I
you're
bet that
sat in a
sounds
Swedish
better as well.
minibar. Well, I mean, the engine's in the wrong place, but it'll probably sound pretty cool, I imagine. Also, I've
It's
just
just to break a few holes in the bottom of it, see what noise it makes. I reckon a bit of a monster. But it was basically it was designed as a transformer. It was designed from the Transformer series, so
oh,
it could take four-dimensional sport. Like it was a four-dimensional sports car that defies automotive convention, technically,
see, you say that.
logically.
So when did you say this came out?
2001.
Oh, okay, this would have been. I was gonna say because if he was done, because obviously GM sponsored all the Transformer films, so I wonder why they never used it. Also, 2001. I would have thought this was a 2011
Mm-hmm.
design. That's very,
Nope.
very ahead of its time, actually. Have I?
Very.
Jesus, that is actually that's taking me aback quite a bit there. Wow, that's actually.
Speechless, including lag, but speechless.
Hmm.
But it was. I just love it because I'm a man that has grown up with practicalities, but I've liked good looks and form, form over functionality.
Is
But
that why you're
here
friends
it
with me?
proves you can do all of it. Say again?
You said you like you like functionality over form. No, other way around. Sorry, form over functionality. I said, is that why you're friends with me? It was a bad joke. Ruined by lag,
Sure.
and then I had
Yeah.
to. Oh, well,
Yeah,
don't.
very.
No, don't make my bad joke into you thinking I'm ugly now. That's not on. All right, my insecurities are already crippling as they are. Don't add on to them, you dickhead.
Oh, all right, all right. I'm sorry, mum. Calm down.
Yeah.
But what is very clever with this is you can have four different styles, like four different body styles, but you never have to leave anything behind.
Mm.
So, for example, the Citroen C3 Pluriel, the worst sequential gearbox car ever, you could remove everything from that, but where do you put it?
Mm.
You have to take all these bits off,
Yeah.
put them in a van, and drive around with someone following you all
It's
the way.
such a weird, very French design, but such uh, also
Deliciously terrible.
a very hopeless looking car as well. I do not like Pluriel
But
at
yeah,
all.
no. But the interesting thing with this is the glass panels, excuse me, they can be removed and they are stored within the car. So you can pop them up, put them in anytime you fancy.
But I don't see why they wouldn't do that with things like the Pluriel. That's the whole point. Uh,
Exactly. It sense from the French, yeah, no. You take blood from stones. It just doesn't work.
However, some of the
But
Swedish and Italians
excuse me.
combined, apparently that works.
Of course, indefinitely. Um, although it's a very compact car. It's not very big at all, but with
Hmm.
the rear seats folded down, and with the flat floor loading area, it can carry 600 liters. With passengers, it's 230, which is roughly the same size as a Mini. It seats up. So think of this as a Mini,
With a very
but
long bonnet.
faster and uglier. Yeah, and a long ass bonnet.
I I don't know. I think that. Hmm. So I think this probably would have been up against your Brera. Obviously, the Brera hadn't come out at this point, but that's a very
Yep.
interesting size and shape. So 3 Series size, I guess. But then 3 Series compact, I guess at that.
Yeah, yeah, sort of Mercedes CLC class, BMW 3 Series compact, but this could do it all, and you would never have to go in and buy three versions of the same car. You've got it all in one.
I like why they never made it because that would have been ridiculously expensive, and the problem is Saab never really sells in major numbers. But such a shame
Nope.
that they never did. Because you too could be driving down the street in a car that has a steering wheel that looks like Boba Fett's ship off Star Wars.
No, yeah, yeah, definitely. I can see that. But it's so cool,
Hmm.
and it's a shame they never made it. It's probably, as you say, probably never made from complexity and cost. The amount of money that would have to go into making all of this a viable, practical, everyday thing. You, no, you wouldn't have the time or money for that. Not
Hmm.
even now.
Plus, it's hard to think where the market would be for this actually, because
Mm,
it's not like a three. If you did this with a 3 Series, there's always a market for a 3 Series. I mean, even back in 2001, where BMW didn't sell nearly as much as now, there's always a market for a 3 Series. If you did this with Alfa Romeo, people would buy it because, well, Alfa Romeo has got the passion. Problem with Saab is you've got very obviously they did the studies and there's a whole point on Top Gear about this about Saab having the smartest drivers on average on the road. Well, you've got this very set market. It's hard to think who among them would want this because obviously no Saab
mm.
driver realistically needs a pickup truck. Uh, so
No.
you don't need that side of it. And as for a hatchback, well, the majority of them probably want a saloon anyway. So perhaps that's
Mm.
why they never went for this. But I don't know. It would have been maybe, like I said, if they made it sort of that sort of Brera shape, it's just a very large hatchback, basically. Maybe that would have been the idea to make it, sellable. But I still think it's a massive crying shame that they never made this because that is very ahead of its time looking. A lot. You change the headlights on this, I fully suspect you could sell this now. Hell, even as it
Yeah.
is, you could probably sell it now. That is a
Yeah.
cracking looking
No,
thing.
definitely.
It's a shame they never made it. I
No, I mean, well, Saab again with Saab going bust, it would have thrown a big spanner in a lot of works for a lot of people if they did buy this. But it's a shame. Rarity and exclusivity are the the sort of the pillars of future classic. This would have been a future classic had this been brought out in 2001 or 2005, 2010. Even now, it would still be a future classic. Personally,
I think this would be one of those very few cars that you can never tell the age of. I mean, you look at an Alfa Romeo Brera
yeah,
again to bring it back up. That came out in 2005. You wouldn't believe that if someone told you, "Oh, it's a 2015 car." You
no,
go, "Yeah, all right, I believe that." And this is one of those types of designs that ages very, very. It comes out looking ahead of its time, and then ages very slowly. And I got a funny feeling that if
yeah,
they'd sold this, it's still worth quite a fair bit, like now. But
mm,
to certain people, I don't think this has any mass market appeal, which is a shame. Because again, this is 3 Series competitor, say a very niche one.
yeah,
It's hard to see.
very, very neat.
Probably would have been very expensive too.
No,
So now we're depressed.
I'll say,
Sorry, go on.
no, go on.
I was gonna say now we're very depressed about this system. The next one, so we can get more depressed about that one.
Let's roll.
Oh, hello.
Mm-hmm.
I am now very very
Hello,
tight in the
gorgeous.
trousers.
Very moist. But this is the Aero X, and
I'm not a. It looks like a Mitsubishi at the
as
back,
we both
but
have just clearly creamed our jeans, this is beautiful.
As we both have
I love it. It's great.
clearly creamed our jeans,
It's
this is beautiful.
I
love it.
I've never
Great.
ever seen this before. That's
yeah.
Jesus.
That's the Swedes taking a lot
Yeah.
of very happy pills and
That's the
going
Swedes
mad.
taking a lot of very happy pills and going mad.
Well,
lots
judging
of-
by the canopy, definitely a
lots
lot of
of
Viagra.
thrusting Viagra. But this
Lots of-
was
Would ex-
Lots of thrusting Viagra.
yeah the
would
blue.
explain
that,
the blue
This
inside.
was-
yeah, the blue. That's it. Well, it's cool ice. This is like is it Doctor Freeze or Mister Freeze from the original Batman?
Mr. Freeze.
That's the kind of thing. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I would get from this. Cool, simple. What was the James Bond film? Pierce Brosnan, and he drove an Aston Martin DB7 or Advantage. That's the one.
It was the Vanquish
I could see
because
that
they made the
parked
pun
outside the
the
little igloo.
Vanish.
A Vanquish, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I could see this parked outside the little igloo thing as sort of a personal runabout.
This is one of the commuters. This isn't the bad guy or the good guy. This is just someone the bad guy knows.
Yeah,
Just
an
happens.
acquaintance.
Yeah, it just happens to be at the dinner party. I don't actually know the bad guy here. So
Mm.
tell me a bit about this. What am I looking at? Why does this exist?
Okay. Well, this was released. This again might shock you somewhat. This was released in Geneva in February 2006.
Fuck off. Again, about 5 years
yeah,
ahead of its time, I'd say.
Damn sight. No, it's way before that. What car do you know now has a lift-up canopy? Nothing.
Well, none,
the only one
because
that I ever
it's
know of was the Goldbug.
widely, yeah, but it's widely impractical, which is why they're a stupid idea. But cool looking thing for concept cars.
Damn sight. And the interesting thing, this used an already tried and tested Saab unit, well, Saab GM unit, which is the twin turbo 2.8 V6. Difference being with this one, it had 400 horsepower.
Ho ho.
Excuse me, 370 pound-feet of torque, was all-wheel drive, and ran with the turbo, with two turbos, and it ran on bioethanol.
Saab had a big thing on biofuel, didn't it? There's a
big
lot
thing.
of, yeah. I wonder if that's a thing in where's Saab built? Sweden. I wonder if that's a big thing out there.
Well, if I remember correctly, I mean, yeah, obviously this is Norway, but this is still Scandinavia. They are the cleanest country.
Norway is
in
now
the
a
world,
planet,
and they
guys.
have to import rubbish.
They have to import rubbish.
Hello?
Oh, we back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear
I think it's just a lag. What do you mean they have to import rubbish?
you. They are so carbon green, and they have run their economy and waste disposal systems so effectively that they have to import rubbish from other countries just to run their own power plants.
That's
That's mad.
incredible.
Yeah. And you can see where it's come from here with bioethanol. It's a clean substance that you've
Mm.
got readily available. It's alcohol, and it's in pretty much unlimited supply. And they're just trying to make it work off an engine that has already been used and proven. Because this was put in the Vauxhall Insignia VXR, this was put in the Saab 93 Aero, the 95 Aero. No, not Aero. No, it was put in 93, definitely. But
Mm.
a tried and tested unit that runs off bioethanol, that's quite a feat.
So, what was this designed to sort of compete against then? I know we're talking hypotheticals here, but we're talking M3? We're talking well, it wouldn't be M5, but maybe M4 perhaps? I'm not sure one existed at the time. M6, there we go, that would have existed.
Again, I'm not sure because it's a two-door coupe with a canopy roof. That's drop dead gorgeous, but oh, excuse me, it's a bit confused because it runs on bioethanol, but has a very similar seven-speed dual clutch DSG thing, similar to Volkswagen, but with driving all four wheels. So high-end sports car. So as you say, M3 Coupe, M3 CSL.
So this
I'm
is kind
thinking
of
maybe
the eco-friendly version of the M6. This is kind of a hey, do you want to have a sports car but be ethically conscious? Forget your Prius, have this.
exactly.
I quite like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Having an
Well, I
alternate
mean, I'd take this over a Prius any day, happily.
It's the alternate M6. Talking of M6s, actually, completely unrelated, but one of the latest from Ukraine is someone's managed to take a BMW M6 Convertible, take the boot off, has mounted a fucking rocket launcher to the back. They've turned an M6
I
into
saw
a
that.
technical.
That is fantastic.
I know.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so I had to mention that because
No, go on, Ukraine.
that made my week. Sorry. So back to the Saab Aero X. I'm very, very impressed. Very Swedish cocktail lounge on the inside. I can't quite tell why the brake lights are blue. That's a bit of an odd one.
Well, you see, with the Saab 95, yeah, the latest 95 that they had before they went bankrupt, same with the 94X, they had the blue strip that went straight across the boot, didn't they?
Did they actually? I hadn't noticed
Saab
that.
were mad.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, if you look there, when they are driving along without brake lights or fog lights or anything on normal headlights, they illuminate blue. They're always blue, little blue accents dotted about every sort of post 2010 Saab. They have blue everywhere.
Huh. I didn't know that. Look at me learning
Mm,
things. That's not a very often thing. That's not often that happens. So well done, you. You taught me a thing.
you're very welcome.
I have got to say though,
Um,
why does so many bloody concept cars have canopies? Because I can't think of anything I'd want on my car less than a fucking canopy. Like,
it, no, go on.
it's cool for all of like 10 seconds. You're like, oh yeah, look at this. I got like a jet fighter. But can you imagine, right? You come out to your car. It's starting to rain. You think, oh, I need to get in the car with my shop. So you open the canopy and you've got to wait 10 seconds for the canopy to open. Then you get in the car. I know it's still raining on you while you're in the car because you've got to wait another 10 seconds for the canopy to close. And half the time you've got to climb over the side of the car to get in. There's nothing wrong with doors, guys. All right? I get that you're trying to be all cool with your concept cars. It's just a door. Give me a bloody door. It's fine.
A door is a door.
Exactly.
More doors than wheels.
Oh, don't start this. There's more wheels than doors, very plainly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you with that. There's more wheels, definitely.
As someone who works in industry, there's about 1 million wheels on one assembly line. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. What's very interesting about this is, again, I forgot to mention this. It'll do 155, again, electronically limited. So this is a sports car, and it's got sports car materials. So it's a steel monocoque with carbon
Oh.
fiber panels. So it's very, very light.
Hmm.
Doesn't say how light is light, but this doesn't look like a massive car.
I'd say
Again, like
that
the 9X, it doesn't look huge.
it's probably what, well, I reckon about 1,200 kilos, somewhere around that, I'd imagine. Probably less if it's all carbon fiber, but
Yeah,
then again, steel tub,
maybe
the engine, and obviously
exactly.
the
And with
stupid canopy is going to
400
weigh a
horse,
lot.
oh no, certainly so. What's very intriguing from what I can see here is like, for example, with the canopy, um, the little section of door where the wing mirrors are, they pop out and move up first,
Mm.
and then the entire windscreen section tilts forward, so it goes sort of origami like, sort of an origami crane. You pull one thing, it does another.
Which looks
So
very
it
cool.
isn't just one massive lump that moves. It's got complex electrical components inside there, moving everything about, whilst also trying not to crush your head.
Which looks very cool, and I appreciate the engineering. But you know what you could do with that door panel? Could make the window so it's part of the door panel, and then you just open the door panel, and then you can get your car normal and drive off normally. I know it's an odd thing to have an
But
issue with, but I hate blood canopies. They're stupid. Sorry, see.
no, they work on aircraft and aircraft only.
Mm.
But what's intriguing is with all this highlight, low cabins, the front suspension is mounted upside down.
Huh?
So the springs and the dampers are mounted upside down to allow the bonnet to be extremely low. I don't know how that works. I can't physically see how that works, but that's one way of I suppose.
I'm trying to picture how it
Two things up down. That's the new way forward. If
I
trying to puzzle that,
yeah,
you
I
don't exactly
fathom.
mount a door up down, do you?
No, you apparently mount it on the canopy that opens up. I need to off canopy thing. It's really pissing me off. But it's just upside down. I guess the
I've just seen it's 1.5 tons.
yeah. So I wasn't too far off. But 5,000 kilos, not 1.5 kilos. Jesus, it would float away. Um, that that's not too bad. I mean, how much would the M6 weigh? Oh no, Google quickly. Bmw M6.
I'd spitball about 1.6.
1 point. Oh, the current one's a 0.7. I'm not one. No one. Not first generation. Second. Wait, see, that's right. Oh, so yeah, no, 1,000,
Sideways.
1,700 kilos. So yeah.
So 200 is like
But, again, it's one.
done. Very much so.
I'm not. So you look at this now, and you okay. Any concept that has a cannon, they never get used. Even the Tony Stratos that ended up being just the regular Stratos. That again never made it to the actual thing. I do wonder what. So yeah, like I said, give this regular pause. What target audience is this for? Again, that's what they might actually with this compared to the 9X.
Lighting.
Right, so back to the duty brick thing, possibly a bit hard, but you talk about business executive, yeah? You're talking architects, you're talking, intelligent people who show me, looking, well, less smart, but very discreet. Well, this is a looking jump as you add thing flashier or expensive, which Saab never had. It's friendly, so obviously it's fuel. It's quite something quick, and the interior is to the right sort of thing. It's a coupe. So I could see this. I mean, maybe made it more of a Grand Tourer type sport as opposed to an out sports car, which I imagine is what they would do. Because I'm sure they did with the M6. I could see this selling, or at least selling in the same sort of numbers the M6 did. Enough to recoup costs. I could see people wanting to buy those. Because I mean, you look at that. That's a very, that's not too far off what a road car would need to be. And
No, certainly so.
again,
I think this.
sorry, you continue.
It's a weird one because it's, as you say, it's a grand tour. It with people that buy Saabs, architects, home designers, Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen kind of crap. The canopy is mad, and you would like a complete Burke if you were to rock out Morgan & Morgan architectural design with that. If it was a normal door, you would be treated like a sane human being, and you would look the bollocks because this is very, very good looking. And the interesting thing with the cabin is it was derived from Swedish glass and instrument um, data making. So it would display data in 3D images on glass acrylic,
That's very
which would
cool.
completely remove the need. Exactly, which would remove the need for dials. So basically, you've got all these screens and all these buttons pop up that are haptic touch. For example, like the ones near the gear selector and the little diagram of the car near the air vents. All of those are 3D projected images that are cut onto acrylic glass, and it looks crisp. That is fresh.
That's very
And
cool.
I don't know. I don't know of anything else or anyone else that would do that other than Volvo, maybe. But the Swedes, there you go. The Swedes do it clean.
See why Saab was sold to people, and this and yourself apparently. Sorry, that was a mean
Yeah, I
dig.
am. You're not wrong though. I have not got the smarts.
But you see this kind of design feature where that is pure design. There's no actual need for that. But you know full well with Saab, they would happily put that in a production car if they could afford to. And it's this
Yeah.
very bizarre thing, Saab, and it's something I absolutely love them for. It's over engineering to the point where it's kind of artful. I mean, I think the perfect example for one that actually existed in real life was the Saab 9 cup holder, which you both completely for. It's yeah, it's over engineered. There's no need for that complex and that have that much movement in it, and but there's a lot, for that, the button swivels so your finger doesn't get twisted at all, so it doesn't wear out that way, which itself is brilliant bit of design. But it comes out and then folds out, what, 270 odd degrees in total overall.
Yeah.
And why? There's no benefit to doing it that way over what BMW normally does, where you just pull it out and there's just a holder. We can something different and a bit better and a bit more interesting, so let's do it. And I think that's exactly why they sold to the market they did. Your architects, your dentists, that sort of type. They're great, and I think this is a key example of that. And again, I shame they never actually made this, because I could see this being something now that we'll look at on forums and go, "Hey, Saab released this and really bought them." I think that's just obviously the Saab 20 bought them, and that's exactly where they're now in our business. Yep. But yeah, but have we got any more to look at today, Will, or is this it?
We have one more.
Shall we move on? Are you ready to do that?
I'm indeed ready. Let's roll.
Oh, the night again. What is the next again?
Yes and no.
Okay.
This version of the 9X and the Aero X, basically.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I don't like it.
So this is. You don't like it?
Oh, it's a challenging looking thing. I like the front.
I think it's cool.
It's
But again, I'm strange. Don't ever come to me for stylistic advice because I will pick the ugliest, stupidest thing in the room.
that's not a very nice thing to say about your partner.
Eh,
I shouldn't say that. I like Hayden. Hayden's cool.
if he doesn't hear me and doesn't watch this. Fair enough. But what I find quite cool about this is a hybrid, and it sort of challenges convention yet again. So this actually has a proper target market, which is sort of the upmarket hatchback sector. So you think LDA 3, BM 1 series, that kind of ballpark. This came out at the Geneva Motor Show in 2008. It, exactly. So this has a 1.4 turbo, which would be a 1.4 GM Ecotec lump with a turbo slacked on as well. Hatchback sector. So you think indeed, mostly Astra's courses, blah blah blah. It's definitely
Okay, so for
sort
context,
of
when
part
did
shared,
this come
engine
out?
shared. It's also tacked onto 4 electric motors with lithium-ion batteries, which will
Okay, so yeah,
it
you'd
will
have your
sprint
A3s at this
to
point,
135
fairly well
miles an hour.
entrenched. So yeah, okay, there's a market there.
It's also tacked onto 4 electric motors with lithium-ion batteries, which will it will sprint to 135 miles an hour.
That's not. I mean, it's not awful. I don't know. This is the first time I think we've had a car on any of these episodes that I've not liked.
Okay.
I mean,
Alright then.
okay, so I mean,
Well,
sorry, go on. You continue.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, it's looking at
Right,
this is the lag is killing us. Right, you start. Go on, you go.
Oh, okay. So it will do 7.9 seconds to 60.
So slower than my MR2.
Fairly brisk. Yeah, it's slower. True. But okay. Very, very All right then. Well, it again. It a plug-in, I believe. No. Go on. It has plug-in parameters. Okay. Right. So it can run on E85 ethanol. Oh. Okay. So it will do 7.9 seconds to 60. Very, very close because it's a plug-in, I believe. Well, it says it has plug-in parameters at least. So it can run on E85 ethanol as an alternative to fossil fuels, but it can be fueled with fossil fuels.
Okay.
So it not only uses a hybrid in terms of using batteries, it uses different fuels as well. Not only uses a hybrid in terms of using batteries, it uses different fuels as well.
So it's a multi-fuel
Oh,
system.
me.
That's
Right.
okay.
Did you say something
That's an
before the lag
interesting
fills out?
bit at least. I just, this isn't a very, very ugly looking thing. I mean, from the side it looks like a Kia Soul. From the back it looks like a Mitsubishi Outlander with a really crap spoiler. It's got pillarless doors, which I hate. I like the front end because it's just a very good looking Saab front end chucked on the front. But I gotta be honest, I can't see this one selling. Although, hang on a minute. Is that spoiler active aero? Because it looks like it pulls out at speed. Am I right in thinking that?
Exactly that.
Okay, alright.
You're very, very right in thinking that.
That's slightly cool. Okay, I can appreciate that. Especially if there's a button that lets me press, I can press and it does it for me. Because that makes things very,
very, very. Oh, I'm in control. Me, spaceman.
yeah. I like the original TT because you can press a
so-
button to make a spoiler come out just for that very reason.
Oh, très magnifique. Again, like with this active aero, so this one has active aero spoiler, so the spoiler that wraps around the rear glass. It has a diffuser underneath, as well as a completely flat stomach. This is based technically with an Astra, so this could have gone into production, but it would have been a very, very good Astra, not the heap of crap Astra that we all know. But at 43 miles an hour, the bodywork is reshaped as the spoiler automatically extends to lengthen the roof line, and with the diffuser moving out from the bumper.
Oh, I've
At
just
heavy
noticed that. Yeah.
braking, exactly. So with heavy braking as well, from 62 especially, so that's the braking point. The rear spoiler raises, adding downforce over the rear axle, with the reflective bar inside that flashes sort of motorists behind to warn that they are braking very heavily. So,
Sort of thing that Mercs do now.
like modern Fiats, for example,
I think a lot of modern
yeah.
cars do
So
it
you
now.
slam the brakes on and they flash.
Mm.
Yeah. So this basically would show a mirror in your face, like, right, stop it now, you're going to hit. Which is a very clever piece of tech from 2008.
Okay, tech-wise, I appreciate it. I think on that side of things, that especially
Mm.
in 2008, that is kind of when a lot of this stuff kind of takes off. And I'm noticing it's got a lot of very modern. So obviously, it's got no wing mirrors. I'm noticing. I'm assuming that's a camera setup, looking at the dashboard and the wing
Yep.
mirrors here. It's also got this weird
Yep.
wraparound gauge cluster that goes into the doors, which that's kind of cool. I imagine it being very impractical because you're blocking it with your arm, but I kind of appreciate that. There's a lot of tech features on it, and again, Active Aero, very modern thing. You got Ford that close off their air vents when they don't need it, and some cars, they have the wheels that kind of close themselves. Does Tesla do that? They have like the wheels that close up so they become flat to drag when they don't need to cool the brakes down, things like that. So,
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
so from that aspect, okay, I appreciate it from a tech standpoint, but that is not a very good shape. That does look very. I don't know. It doesn't. I was just saying,
It's a Kia Soul.
yeah, it looks like a Kia Soul, but the Kia Soul didn't exist at the time, so it's hard for me to say, oh, it's derivative when the things I think it's derivative of didn't exist when this did. So, maybe that's me looking at it with rearward vision, but yeah, not a fan of that at all. Looks wise, that is a challenging looking thing. And
Whereas I think it's quite pretty, but well, not pretty, butch, but I'm strange. But
so go on.
can I at least tease you with some of the? Can I at least tease you with some of the sort of quirks and features of the interior?
Can't Doug Demure me.
Oh, God, excuse me. So, 2008. I don't know when it was sort of brought into faction, but it had keyless entry. Don't know when that was about, but it has keyless entry and touch-sensitive door handles. So there were no door handles at all. It will just open for you, basically,
I do
as
not
well as
like
using, as you said earlier. No, I don't at all. I want a physical door handle. I want to be able to yank something in anger, not just stand there pressing the shitty little button.
Yep.
Frankly. Oh, excuse me.
Oh no, it's run out of battery. How do I get in?
But as you said, exactly. Ah, no, dead battery. Brilliant. I'm now locked out forever. But as you said earlier, with the cameras, it has rearward-facing cameras, which seems to be a common theme for quite a lot of stuff, concept-wise at least. It also, well, again, with the cameras, it would reduce drag at speed. If there is less space, there's less stuff to hit air at speed. Saab, at the time, did something very strange, and they partnered themselves with Sony Ericsson. So this gave Saab the ability to plug in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and you could hook up mobile phones, iPods, anything like that, MP3 players. You could plug them in and stream from them with SatNav, as well as all kinds of streaming services. So when anyone's in the car, you can basically create your own DJ and Netflix set.
Okay, that's okay. I can see that appealing to a target audience, especially nowadays. I don't know. It's just
No, certainly so.
I couldn't see them selling this. That's the problem. Even with these features, as you said, it's basically an Astra in a very pretty dress. Well, by your means, pretty dress in my head, quite a minging one. But okay, you can make the argument that the A3 is a Golf that's dressed up a bit nicely, and the 1 Series is a very ugly looking thing anyway. So you're comparatively looking at similar sort of cars, but the Audi RS3, for example, which I think the S3 only existed at that point. I don't think the RS did, but even so, that was a very very fast car and very conventional looking. So, and obviously people like the Audi brand, so that would have sold. The 1 Series just sells repeatedly anyway because people want the 1 Series for some reason. I can't see anyone wanting this. Again, it goes back to I can't see the Saab clientele wanting a hatchback. Which, okay,
No,
doesn't make
very
sense
true.
because the 909, no, yeah, 909,000, sorry, were both hatchbacks. But modern day clientele, I can't see wanting. It doesn't
No,
seem their kind of
no,
car.
not really, because I'm reading from the bump here. It says um, this Saab was designed to, again, compete against the A3 and the 1 Series, but it was for a youthful target market. So anytime youthful gets involved, they want a premium hatchback, basically, default anyway. But um, the rear seats apparently, because it is a four or five seater, um, they would mainly stay down, apparently, because the load carrying capability is a bigger priority than carrying people, according to whoever did research and development for this sort of focus group. But
I mean, if you have rear passengers, you didn't like them
exactly,
anyway.
just let them walk.
Especially in
It's
my
good
car.
exercise. But again, with with practicality and boot space in mind, similar to the Night X, it had a powered slide-out floor, which is activated with the bottom half of the tailgate drops down over the rear bumper. So basically, this is like a Range Rover. It splits in half. So you've got somewhere to sit, and your head's going to be covered by basically a movable umbrella due to the active aero. Um,
Okay, that's not a bad bit of design. I think a lot more hatchbacks need
I
that.
think every single car that isn't a saloon needs a split folding tailgate. They are incredibly practical, and yes, I hate it horribly, but a woman that I work with, she has a Mitsubishi Outlander, and that has a split tailgate. It just makes sense. Why would you not have one? The Citroen C2 that has a fantastic gear change and split folding tailgate. I can't remember
Split
what
fold.
era
Yeah,
Civic
I mean,
they had a split folding tailgate.
yeah,
Go
I know
for
the
it.
one. I know the one you're on about. Yeah, clamshell. Yeah,
Yeah.
our old E30 State one. And it's and the thing is, people I think it's a gimmick or whatever, but the amount of times you can just load. A full boot is quite heavy. Being able to just put a piece of glass, very very nice, very easy. It's a lot more practical than to kind of just lift up to a certain height and put something in. You're not having to deal with, worrying about parking too close to a wall behind you. If you've got, loose, you haven't got to worry about it falling out. It's incredibly helpful.
Mm.
Just and especially in a car with a small boot, it makes a lot more sense to have, just open the top like a C2 for example, because you can stack a shopping in it. I had a friend with a C2, and I absolutely love the C2. And I love the fact we both agree on it having a great gear change, because that was one of my favourite things about that car. It's just such a mechanical, clunky gearbox. But you just fold the rear tail, that little bit of glass up, and it's just, right, stack a load of shopping on top of each other now, and you haven't got to worry about it falling out until you get to the end. Split folding tailgates are the shit.
Yeah, no, I'm full for that. Practical easy designs that can be incorporated, do it.
Mm.
There's no arguments. But with the entire floor area and the back of the folding seats is covered by high friction carpet. So when the tailgate opens, aluminium bars in the floor are automatically raised just above that level,
So you
making
can
it
slide
easy to
stuff in,
slide
yeah.
items inside.
Very clever.
Exactly. So when very, very clever, because when the tailgate closes, the bars lower and allow the high friction surface to grip items and hold them in place.
See, again,
So
very...
effectively,
very clever car, but I can't see anyone wanting to buy it. Hi, Alex in post-production here. For whatever reason, the rest of the audio in this podcast just completely delaminates itself and is entirely useless. So the last 5 minutes are gone. So I'm having to film this quickly at the end of it just to say thank you for watching. Yes, I'm aware these are plagued with technical issues. We are doing our best to learn how to do them. Bear in mind, neither of us have ever done anything like this before, so this is all very, very new. As it was, there were no announcements other than the meet, which is going to be on exactly, 3 hours from now. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all again next week. We have a guest episode from Mr. Paran Todd, who's going to be going over Toyota and some of their weirdest hits, which we're also recording later on today because I have no sense of time organisation at all. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know where you are, what time zone you're in, so have a good morning, good evening, or good night. Anyway, either way, thank you very much, and goodbye.